Let's conjugate the verb avoir in the passé composé. Okay, folks, have a look at this. Avoir, we all know it means to have, okay? But what does it sound like when we conjugate it in the passé composé? Now, I remind you that a passé composé, it is like saying, I have had, okay? I have had, but means as well, I had, okay? We have only one way of saying I had, it is I have had. So, how do you say I have and how do you use the past participle had? Well, past participle, the past participle of avoir is eu, eu, and it is spelled E-U, okay? Though some of you might say, well, I thought EU together makes the sound it doesn't in this context, okay? It's an exception. Eu, EU for had, as in the past participle of avoir, okay? So, you conjugate it like any other passé composé using the auxiliary avoir. So we are using the same verb, avoir, to conjugate its own verb, if that makes sense. So let's have a look. We use avoir in the present tense and we add the past participle eu, and that makes I have had, I had, and so on. So, j'ai eu, I have had, or I had. Tu as eu, you have had, or you had. Il a eu, he has had, or he had. Elle a eu, she has had, or she had. On a eu, we have had, or we had, which is the on part, singular, okay, as in one, or we less formal. Nous avons eu, that's we have had, we had, nous avons eu. Vous avez eu, vous avez eu, you have had or you had, as in you, the formal way of saying you, okay? Vous, the formal way of saying you. And ils ont eu, elles ont eu, they have had or they had, okay? If you're not familiar with the subject pronoun je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle, please refer back to one of my lessons from the volume 1 French Essential, okay? And you will find out how we use them, okay? How we pronounce them and so on. So, have a look at this again. J'ai eu, tu as eu, il a eu, elle a eu, on a eu, nous avons eu, vous avez eu, ils ont eu, elles ont eu. Okay, can you hear the sound eu, which is the past participle of avoir? Okay, if I were to put this into an example, I could say, nous avons eu un jouet pour Noël. Nous avons eu un jouet pour Noël. Now, nous avons eu means we had or we have had, okay, a toy for Christmas, as in we got a toy for Christmas, okay? Obviously, we don't have this I got, okay, or you got. We say I had or you had, okay, in French. So, we got a toy for Christmas. Here's another example. J'ai eu des fleurs pour la fête des mères. J'ai eu des fleurs pour la fête des mères. So I had flowers for Mother's Day. J'ai eu, I had, or I have had, okay? Des fleurs pour la fête des mères. Okay, la fête is fiesta and celebration. Mère is mother, okay? Mother's Day, okay? Tom a eu une bonne note à son examen. Tom a eu une bonne note à son examen. Now, Tom a eu, as in he had, so Tom is il. Il a eu a good mark, une bonne note à son examen for his exam, okay? So, il a eu une bonne note à son examen. Now, this is a very tricky one, avoir, okay? But why don't you try to write an example as well? And I promise you that I will correct it, okay? So, avoir, really important to know avoir. And why don't you have a look at my volume 1 of my French Essential course? course. Okay, there are 10 lessons, and one of them is about the auxiliary avoir. That's it for me. Au revoir, à bientôt, bisous bisous. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done that already. Bonjour et bienvenue. Je m'appelle Alexa. Je suis française. Je parle français et anglais. Comment ça va? Route. Et puis la dernière pour moi aussi. Donc si tu veux m'aimer, appelle.